All right, so apparently, the storm was, I don't know, kidding around, joking around, I don't know. But it came and went. Bucket has the other gloves, the non-sweaty gloves. I currently have my ear protection in because of a groundhog behind the RV. It's the freaking groundhog. But, you know, Caddyshack had the itty bitty groundhog. And I'm dealing with a full-sized freaking beaver-sized groundhog. So I started growing some deliberate sunflowers. And that sucker came in and just like he was shopping at the shopping cart, came in and fucking started chewing the tops of them. I saw him do it. Can't be like, oh, you know, there was no mistaking it. I saw his rodent face. You know, just sitting there, fat and happy, freaking eating sunflower tops. Like, they haven't even bloomed yet. So yeah. I have my ear protection on because I was about to take care of things. And the last time I shot at him, I gave myself some minor tinnitus, so I'm trying not to do that. So I'm out here gardening, and he was just right there, just eating, and all this right here was him freaking pushing all the freaking plants down to get their tops. Just a little upsetting, you know, hoping to grow stuff. Anyway, but I might as well water the plants while I'm out here. But man, these guys are coming in. And I think he came in through here to push down all the asparagus, looking for something. But he hasn't gone anywhere else that I've seen, you know. So last couple days ago, there was a snake skin in that area right there. And I'm like, okay, well, someone was shedding their reptilian skin, so there you go. Like, hopefully that'll take care of them, but no. Apparently snakes don't bother them. So, fun stuff. I really don't. Just very upset. Just very upset. Don't really enjoy doing this, but I mean, it is what it is. You know, like, creature decides to, you know, make a meal of your hard work. I mean, that doesn't, you know, doesn't bode well for anybody. Like, yeah, the plant did most of the work, right? But it's like, you have a desire to do something in the area, right? And then it doesn't get fulfilled because it decides to cut into your plans, type of stuff. But yeah, so storm didn't happen, but it did thunder, which I was like, and the clouds were coming in. So by the time I got to the RV, it just became sunny again. You know, my only worry was weather was pretty much predicting, you know, some rain today and, you know, pretty much for the next 10 days or whatever the forecast maximum was. Like, I saw it and it was just like, hey, by the way, you know, it's gonna be raining and storming and all that kind of fun stuff. And I'm just like, okay, well, it'd be nice if you know, we get some type of accurate weather forecasting. Anyway. Anywho. Let me water these plants. That's all I'm gonna be doing. But I'm gonna keep my eye out on these. On the sunflowers, because the daggone groundhog wants to. Not a fan. Definitely not a fan. So, gonna be watering the garden. So I guess I should point out a few things that I have. Keep an eye out. I think they get wise for a little bit, at least throughout the day, and try to make some type of schedule against you. So the best thing to do is, I guess, be random as hell. All right, let me get my hose. Go. All right, so here is, this one's a mixed bag because let's do the spray. Currently, what's growing is well, we got grass, we got fescue grass, and then these over here, those are persimmons, because apparently there was persimmons, or there still is growing persimmons on the property here, just naturally growing. So they were wild persimmons, or whatever you want to call it, and these are staghorn, what is it? Is that what it's? Is it the staghorn? because I got persimmons here, currants, and beech, as well as walnuts, cherry, pepper, plum, and peach. Yeah, so they can't be the staghorn one. But I know I got the seeds for it. Alright, so what's in here, all the green stuff that's sprouting out, are carrots. This one over here, that's the, what was that? That was that plant that I was moving and it decided to give up the ghost a little bit. I forget the name. Comfrey, or comfrey, wherever you want to, whatever your inclination is. But that's comfrey, right there. Sorry, trying to. Problem with cloth hose, it kinks itself. But yeah, comfrey is this one up here, and the rest of it is carrots, which has a celery-looking thing. Oh, they're making berries. That's pretty good. I had comfrey in here as far as growing from seed, which was pretty good. I don't know what's in this one. Like, I labeled the big ones because I remembered to after the fact, but these little ones I forget. But this one right here, I know that one. I mean, those are strawberries, little baby strawberries. Yeah, I did that one from seed, and these are cuttings that I had from my grapes, which are pretty amazing. Growing things from cuttings. I mean, it's very much like what you would, like most people, I guess, that do it every day don't really think of it as like a miracle, but it's like 3 of them sprouted, or whatever you want to call it. They sprouted, they rooted, they propagated. But it's like I had about 20 cuttings, minimum, and 3 of them sprouted. So that wasn't too bad. And this here is a cherry tree, or I guess you would call it twig, because the crickets, and no, I can't blame the crickets, because there was a caterpillar living in this basket here, and so it was a green caterpillar that freaking ate all the leaves on this thing, and so I was very upsetting. I didn't notice until I started hosing it down. One day I was watering, but I had removed it from where it was, which was up that the sun, which was up that hill up there. And then I, put it in a bag, had it still up there in a bag, because it was used to that particular light, or that light source, sun, whatever. And it was getting consumed by, I assumed at first grasshoppers, but now it's like freaking caterpillar. And then the kudzu was growing. So there was another comfrey right here, this plant. And this is all just grass right here. And I think this is one of the plants right there that I seeded here. So I seeded coffee beans in this pot. Not like, I went to the grocery store and shoved some coffee beans in there. Like, I ordered seeds for coffee, little trees, and they haven't sprouted. What sprouted was grass, just straight up grass. And here's the comfrey that was in the other bag over there that I pulled out because it was having a hard time. It's having a really hard time. So I think I might have to figure out its pH, because I mean right now it's pretty balanced with the pH. Like it's not acidic, and it's not, you know, like a complete base, you know. So, but this was the comfrey that was in that bag. And there was seeds in this pot that I was trying to grow, but what's growing in there now is red maple that's seeded. Because red maple, I mean, you might not think it, but it's freaking invasive. Like every pot that I had, or have, is just full of red maple. And I gotta go around twice with some of this, because when you use peat moss, it's really hard to soak it. And so this right here, these twigs, you might not think of it, but these twigs here, they're black oak. This on this whole line right here. Yeah, I rooted those out. And then there's more over here. And this is very, like, this soil right here is just the soil, you know, North Carolina soil. You know, it's clay, and it's also silt and sand and all kinds of other stuff. I mean, I tested it. I mean, it's good soil. So, I mean, it's not bad. But yeah, I got some black oak and another plant, another tree plant, but I forgot what it was. Freaking sarsaparilla. I got some sarsaparilla. I'm not sure where they're at. But then these over here are curel. The smaller ones are the curel herb, or self-heal. Self-heal. There was a lot at my stepmom's house. It was pretty amazing. So I got some. And then these here are they're a cone flower. They're like yellow or green or something when they bloom. Yeah, they're kind of like the purple ones over there. Like these purple ones here, if you can see that. Asparagus. Yeah, if you water asparagus enough, they'll just come back. I tell you what though, these purple flowers, I had them at the original house. They were there, and they said, you know, you could take those with you because, you know, it doesn't really belong to the house originally, you know. So you know, HOAs and whatnot, they're like, you either pull them up or get rid of them. So I pulled them up and took them. They're, I think, part of the aster family. Right now they're gonna freaking being attacked by kudzu because of all the water. Yeah, I gotta do I got a freaking weed. But it's like the weeds, most of the weeds are some plants. Like, well, obviously they're plants. It's just, there are some beneficial plants that are intermingled with all the weeds. And there are some that I'm just like, I have no use for. Like these clover things, those are, you know, you could eat those in a salad. You know, they have a lemon flavor to them. But the other thing is that, you know, freaking tiger lily decided to dump all its seeds in my bag here, which pissed me off. And then you got a pine. No, that's not a pine. But then you got this other weed over here. That's a weed. That tall motherfucker right there. Like, but yeah, like, but grass is like, I try to make sure there's a little grass, but not like an insane amount, because you know they add to the rhizome layer. I use the jet because you gotta really pierce these 30-gallon bags. Because sometimes the soil gets compacted and you gotta shoot it. Yeah, but those purple flowers over there, they're very, I would like to say, drought tolerant. Like I would water them once a week or once a month, and they're still like they will lock into a place. So I think once I clear out a good area that isn't full of kudzu, same thing with these, they're really good. I like to do with these annuals. I just like when they're done blooming, I like to take their buds once it goes brown. I take the buds and I would put it away because that's where their seeds are after they bloom. So I would take their buds where all the seeds are, and I would take a couple for storage, or I'll just like break them up in the location that they're at, or I just start spreading it, you know, in other places where I would want to see them in the next season. Yeah. This incline stuff is for the birds. But yeah, so I some of these plants I have to like cut out a base so it's like flat. This right here is a plum. I had bought that at Home Depot 2 years ago. And moving and putting this sucker on a truck does a number on the leaves. Like 1 year, there was no leaves on it because even though trying to wrap it and going freaking 60 to 70 on the highway with it strapped in the back, wrapped, the bag just flew right off. Didn't know it until I hit the first gas station to fill up. But yeah, it sucked. It was not the best. And so that year was like a recovery year. Then it bloomed at stepmom's house, and then after that had to move again, and that was before spring got nice and warm. So right before spring got nice and warm, freaking it was still freezing, and then it got subjugated to that same situation with the leaves. So, but it bloomed this year. I mean, there was flowers, so there might be something come in a couple months, but honestly, I'm not holding my breath. I do love plums though. Yeah. Like the dark purpley ones where they're nice and firm. You know. You could chew it. You could chew on it like an apple. Oh man. Let me get some more water. Huh. Sucker was dry. Whew. Not as bad as me being dry. All right, so this right here is black walnut. These are potatoes. This is fescue grass. Here's that lemony clover thing. Just a mixed bag. And over here is strawberries and black walnut. It's like a little forest over here, but freaking the beetles have been getting into my damn grapes. I've been chewing on them. But, you know, it happens. Well, every year but last year, which was surprising, but my plant was never this big. Oh yeah, they're under there. They're underneath the leaves. So what I gotta do is grab the old bug spray. Give it a little shake. And it's just Castile soap. But I wear gloves because I don't like the feel of beetles in my fingers. Because the spray, I mean, it'll mess with their breathing. The soap. But I mean, it makes them really lethargic. And so instead of just leaving them there, I like to Give them a little squish. So they don't continue bothering my plants. Because that's what they like to do, bother plants. Because they're touching the tomatoes. Definitely a lot of grasshoppers, but they're so fast, it's hard to deal with them. I haven't had a problem with the leaf curler bugs. Yeah. Snail. And that is a moth. Definitely an ecosystem in here. I got grapes coming, but I don't think they're gonna get super big because I think I have to water them a lot more than well, I'm not too worried about grapes because there's freaking two plants in there, 2 vines. And so, I can't really expect too much coming out of it as far as produce. I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes. But these are tomatoes. They're coming in. I got 6 tomatoes. And I hung them, but they decided to branch off and crawl on the floor. I could have just pruned them, but I don't know. I'm an idiot. Now that this one's rooting in the ground, I guess if I wanted to propagate it, I'll just wait until it fully roots and then nip it at the bud. But yeah, it's freaking jungling. And it's self-propagating. Don't know if it's from the seeds or what. But I tell you what, the raspberries love to freaking drink. They are thirsty. Need to put a heavy jet on that one. Because freaking raspberries, they put a damn layer of roots. Because they're freaking thirsty. Just like blueberries. Blueberries the same way. Freaking drink their weight. So you just gotta make sure you stay them hydrated. I got lots of raspberries. Because, raspberries, if you didn't know any better, was freaking invasive. Which, I wish it was more of a thing than freaking kudzu. I'm dealing with kudzu every day. And this sunflower is about ready. Got more strawberries. That was from a neighbor at mother-in-law's house. I'm gonna put them in the ground once the house is done and cut out a garden. But not cutting back all the overgrowth of grass and things saved most of this from the heat and the dryness. Because a lot of the other plants I have freaking pretty much didn't make it. You know, because I have to water it consistently. And this is yarrow. It's a variation of your standard yarrow because it's pink or something. Tags around here somewhere. Try to make sure I keep them. But these tomatoes are my favorite tomatoes. They're the steak tomatoes. They're the really big, juicy ones. I really enjoy that. Big, juicy tomatoes. And that big one right there, behind the yellow flowers, is like a mosquito type of flower, or a mosquito type of pellet flower. Like, it's what they burn, I guess. Echinacea. No, not echinacea. I got echinacea there. That's a coneflower. I have the seeds, but freaking, I forgot that bean sprouts freaking consume like all the nutrients in a pot. So I ended up planting them with it, and it just devoured everything. And this is ginkgo biloba tree. Yeah. I need to repot this for sure. And then over here, beyond this mess, is fig trees. Yep, fig tree. And then right here, this first big leafy plant right there is horseradish. You know, because I was wondering how difficult it is to grow horseradish. And then there's tarragon down there, and some type of not oregano, but it tastes like oregano further down in there, smaller leaves. And then basil, which is part of the mint family. And that sucker was not even half the size of what it is now. It was probably like freaking quarter of the size of what I got it. You know, those tiny little pot things? It was just one, and that's it. Freaking explodes. It consumes a lot of water. But there's 3 plants in there, which I'm gonna separate later. But yeah, the crickets, they'll munch on the basil a little bit or whatever other bug, but they won't try to eat it because they don't like it. Too strong. Too strong. Let's click this out a little bit. All right. It has been hot, so I'm trying to get everything watered for tomorrow, because doggone, tomorrow's gonna be another dry day. And you know, when you put peat moss down, you don't need to soak it if you haven't soaked it already. But you gotta keep it moist, because that sucker will be hydrophobic, which I learned the hard way. It's like, it's been a week, trying to water, and then all of a sudden, hey, the top layer will get wet, but there'll be nothing at the bottom. Nothing at the bottom. So this right here is what was growing on the property that I put in this tray, and that's Indian tobacco, which is pretty cool. Here, right here, which I tried to grow with no success. It's some of the stuff that I seeded requires cold temperatures, so it's mostly experiments. So I didn't waste seed, but it's more experimentation, because I got a lot of seed. Wait, there's another experiment up there. Anyway, here's another herb with the plants. This one really propagates. This little guy. They just keep sprouting. All right, so a little more hose. So here's my mint, which this mint I cut back. So this is what I had left. And this is what grew. And the mint that I cut out, I put it around the property here. So I have mint on the property. But this is one of those other ones where you gotta freaking put the jet on, so it'll pierce. But peppermint loves sun and water, so but it'll grow anywhere if it can root. But the more sun it has, the more potent it is. Freaking beetles. I don't know if it's that. That was a beetle for sure. Okay. So here's more camphor that I put in the ground. And there's the mint. It's one of the mint that I transplanted there. Here's more asparagus with some grass, So that freaking groundhog, if I see him again, but he was coming over to the bigger buds because they were freaking, they were tall, like that one right there. And he was just grabbing them, eating the tops. Not a fan. Not a fan. Then I got another mint down over there. Switch to a different jet. But it's like right where the jet is hitting. Oof. But then there's all these little freaking plants intertwining in between all the sunflowers. Not too bad. And then there's grass that I put, just the fescue grass. I think it's like boggy, tolerant. Like they could tolerate a lot of water. Fescue. This was the freaking couch inside the RV that was taking up space. Like they don't tell you, hey, do you want a couch? Do you need a couch? They're just like, here's the RV. This is what we're giving you. Nothing you can change about it. Then tomorrow I gotta do the blueberries. That's over there. Which is these two here. But, I mean, I think I got mostly everything that needed water this time around. Because the other water that I was doing was, I was bucket feeding. And that's more efficient, in my opinion. Getting the bucket and just dunking it. And then, letting it come down and whatnot. But yeah, not a fan of that damn groundhog, that's for sure. But I don't know if I showed you the lilies that came in. They're freaking gorgeous. And I've been having lilies since the property because the property had yellow lilies, which I took up. But then I went to Home Depot and got more. So they're freaking amazing. The ones that are still bloomed, freaking love them. But, they're really drought resilient too. Snaky snake. No snaky snake. But there's one that it hasn't bloomed yet. I don't know where it is. But that sucker is darkness. It's freaking dark. Like, it's definitely like black. I don't know if it's here because they all bloomed, and we left for a couple days. Well, we left for a week to Grandma's house. So I'm a week behind. Oh, and get this. This is a pretty cool story. This plant, this big plant here. I actually saved it. I mean, I don't know if you want to call it saved, but I was at my 9 to 5 essentially, and out on the road, on the main road, like in front of the facility, there was one lily just hanging out. This is when I started doing lilies, and I was like, and it was just by itself. It wasn't like they planted it there and, it's not like they planted it there and it's supposed to look pretty, because it was like some random place. Like the ones that they planted, any flowers, was like further on campus. There was no, like, you wouldn't, anyways. So, I mean, the story could be they were there once upon a time, they died off and whatever. But, I mean, it was one little sprig. I mean, that sucker was tiny, and barely a flower. And I was just like, I went over there on my lunch, dug it up, wrapped it in freaking a moist cloth and put it in a bag. Took it home, potted it. That's the same pot it's been in. And jeez, I want to say it's when I first potted it and was still living in the house. It was like 3 years before we moved out here, and so it's 5 years total, and it got that big. It's pretty amazing. But I put it in potting soil. Oh lordy. Put it in potting soil, and it did the rest of the work. But I was just really, what always upsets me or always makes me on edge is when they die off for the winter. I understand it, but it's like the waiting of them coming back to life. That puts me on pins and needles, because it's like, it did fine last year. It did fine. Like, it's gonna come back, It's not like I did anything to, make it worse. Like my first set of blueberries, it was not pretty. First set of blueberries, I ended up getting the soil too acidic one time, and it just killed them outright. Just poop, outright. But other plants are growing in there now, and its stump is still in there for both of them. Two different pots. But yeah, I got a couple of trees that I'm growing. An elm tree, black oak, black walnut, stuff like that. But yeah, Hold up. Must have splashed the phone. Oh lordy. Battery's dying. But yeah, I enjoy gardening. Do I wish it was a little easier? Yeah. But it's like, what I'm doing right now is mainly seeding, propagating, because right now I don't have a 100% location to do a greenhouse, because I want to do a couple of tropical plants or tropical-esque plants, more to the North Carolina weather, but that isn't, I guess, cold hardy, because being in the mountains, it's a lot colder up here. So yeah, I just want to get something that was a little bit still, I don't know what to call that, Mediterranean. I wanted to get passion fruit, but passion fruit would grow in the city, over east. But yeah, plums, and other rock fruit will grow out in the cold. Freaking the ginkgo is all over the city here in Asheville. Strawberries, freaking amazing perennial. which I first heard about strawberries. Growing them, I was told they were like an annual crop. It's like, okay. You know, I will grow perennials, you know, till the hinges fall off. Always. Always. Always, always. That's why I like lilies and some of the other flowering plants. But an annual, I mean, I would collect the seeds and replant the seeds in the same pot. You know, it'll grow that way. I don't mind that. But yeah, this little guy, I didn't tell you, is it's an elderberry. One right. Oh. This one. That one, and I think that one is. They're both elderberries. I rescued it from the freaking woods out over there, or over there. And, you know, I mean, rescue is not, but, you know, I got freaking kudzu, so rescue. But yeah. But they don't like the sun, apparently. And then we got, I don't want to say gooseberries, but they're freaking, they're berries for birds. So they're poisonous to humans. And then the property, like at first they just said, oh no, there's no black locust on your property. Yeah. And then I wasn't like against black locusts. I really like them. I really enjoy the aesthetic of the bark and whatnot. Mosquito flew away. But yeah, like once I start clearing out kudzu, I started noticing all the black locusts on the property. And yeah, between all the pines, there's a lot of black locusts. Like you got pine, got black locust. And apparently the tree of North Carolina should have been freaking the tulip tree. It's kind of, from what I've freaking researched, they're a poplar type of tree. I didn't know that. But they're freaking super straight if they don't have a tree fall on them. If they go straight beam pole. So you got those. Got red maple. You got your white ash. Got your sarsaparilla, or sassafras. You got your birch, your Carolina style birch. Cherry trees. Got cherry trees here. Persimmons that were here. Freaking muscadine grapes here. And the freaking black raspberry, dewberry. The pointy, sharp, stabby ones. They're here for sure. Indian tobacco, which apparently the ingredient in Indian tobacco is the same ingredient used for getting over nicotine, or the addictive property of nicotine. I looked that up. It was very interesting. There was another sprouts over there. Not sure what it was. Trying to remember. It sounded like a fruit name, but it was no fruit. Apparently it's a smelly tree. I looked it up and it was just like, because I at first thought it was some type of fruiting tree, like a peach or something, but it wasn't. It was freaking smelly tree. Attracts freaking flies. But yeah, the tulip tree is freaking... Like, we cleared out this spot over here so we could put stuff as storage until we build the shop. And all the tulip trees that we mulched, I guess if you don't stump them, they'll start sprouting again. So all these right here are tulip trees. And then we have a couple tulip trees that were in here, but then there's kudzu in there. All this is kudzu with raspberries. So I gotta do it by hand so I don't destroy the, not the raspberries, they're blackberries and dewberries. You know, the wild berries that you can eat, which I always thought that was interesting. It's like, anywhere I would go, they're like, oh, don't eat that. And I'm like, do you know what it is? No, I don't know what it is, but don't eat it. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you don't eat blackberries until they're black. You know, which takes freaking forever. You gotta wait until freaking almost midsummer, depending where you are. I guess it all depends on how hydrated they are. Because this whole road, all the way from there, all the way down, past that bend, maybe about freaking 600 feet and 6 feet deep is raspberries. Just straight raspberries. Or not raspberries, but blackberries. I mean, it's a thicket, you know, but they were worried about snakes, I guess, from what I heard. So they freaking... Hold on, let me see if I can show you. So what they did was they chemically burned everything on the downside. So all that is, or was, mainly, yeah, it's a was. All that was, you know, consumable vegetation. And then you got freaking horse nettle, and that's black. It's a blackberry. Fescue, horse nettle. Yeah. Horse nettle is not really something you go for that's medicinal. Dog fennel's coming back in. Right there. A little fuzzy fennel looking thing. Now, these sticks are the dog fennel that grew last year. This is a dewberry because of the way the leaves are. And this one is a blackberry because the 5 pointy thing. Because, no, they're the same. They're blackberries. I was looking at this top one, but this is like an adolescent one. When you look at the older ones, the big freaking star one. But yeah, freaking deer came in. Well, deer come over here and eat the berries. They'll just nom on them. But yeah, see, it's just been very dry. And that's the pokeweed or whatever, right? That freaking big purpley berries. All right. And then we got, see, that's part of our property back. We're past that pole there. It goes back 10, 20 feet. And goes back through there at a weird diagonal. So I mean, we're really good. We're on good terms with our neighbor. He's pretty cool. But yeah. Hey, darling. Huh?
I was asking if you FaceTime.
No, I'm talking on the live. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Jelly Bean.
Just checking in with you because it's about to get dark.
Yeah, I'm just conversating, pointing stuff out.
Katie, love you.
I love you too, babe. But yeah, we're on good terms. Yeah. There's a story there with his brother, blah, blah, blah. I'm not a big drama person, you know. I'll let my wife deal with that. But yeah, I mean, it's nice living out here. But it's just a lot of work, and you got to do it yourself. But if you got the money, I mean, go ahead. But it's like, I don't know. It's whatever you want to do and want to make it. As far as living out in the wilds, I also moved the mint right here, where it irrigates. When it rains, it washes out down here. So I put the mint there, and it's freaking, like, it was not even that much. It was like just this much right here, and then it just bloomed all this. So I try to make sure the soil is loose, so it'll grow. Anyway, but yeah, I think I might stream tomorrow, because I got to do the rest of the roof, and yeah. But, just gonna put the metal up, and after the metal, I'm done. So, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.